you wanted a beer.
Yes.
Can you give me a beer, please? Actually, can you just grab another one for me while you're at it? Thanks. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Dante.
Hey, guys. It is not Sunday night, but we're still the M Cluster. And in case you can't tell, we just came back from seeing The Amazing Spider-Man 2, and I have feels.
I have feels as well.
And I decided I wanted to get this out of the way.
Are we going to preface this with spoilers ahead?
There's probably some spoilers are going to come out.
There's the biggest spoiler that I'm probably going to say because it's probably my favorite part of the movie.
Okay. Some spoilers are going to come out. We're going to try to not spoil the entire thing. It's only been out for like less than 24 hours. So if you have not seen the movie and you don't want to hear any spoilers, you need to stop this video now.
However, if you are a fan of the comic,
it shouldn't matter.
It shouldn't matter because you already know what I'm going to say.
Okay. So we've gotten that out of the way. So we're going to take a brief pause and let you reach for the pause button. No, I didn't tell you to stop. I'm just
letting the people get out if they.
Why are you whispering like? All right. So we just saw Spider-Man 2. Some of us for the second time.
Yes, I did see it twice. I saw it at 8 and then at midnight.
And what do you think? What's your takeaway?
It was I had issues with it. Overall, it was okay. Only okay.
I don't know if I disagree with you, but I kind of feel like it was really lame in the beginning and really good at the end.
It was quite a bit slow.
And the most interesting takeaway for me on this is the fact that my least favorite part of the movie, the thing I did not like, or not that I didn't like it, but like I liked everything more than I liked Spider-Man. I did not.
Spider-Man or Peter Parker?
Spider-Man.
Really?
Yes.
I would say I had huge issues with Peter Parker again for the second movie in a row, because he's not a genius in these movies. He's just like a normal kid, well, maybe slightly above average.
He is a genius in these movies.
No, he's not.
Yeah, he is.
How?
Because they made him a genius in these movies. You're saying he shouldn't be a genius in these movies.
Please give me an example on how they made him a genius.
He figured out the formula that gave Doc Connor the ability to transform into the lizard. He crafted the...
He didn't figure that out. He remembered what his dad did.
He crafted the spider shooters.
Stolen.
Stolen from who?
Oscorp.
He stole the web technology, not the shooters.
Not the shooters exactly, but they had some of that tech there.
Yeah, they had cartridges.
Yeah.
He actually designed the deployment thing.
Not as... In the comics, his IQ is supposed to be above 250.
Oh, I see what you're saying. You want him to be smarter.
Yes, he's supposed to be a super genius.
Well, he's not a super genius.
Obviously. That is a huge issue with Peter Parker. Peter Parker's a super genius. That's one of his things.
Peter Parker does not bother me. I didn't have a problem with him as Parker.
And he's not as nerdy as he's supposed to be?
I didn't have a problem with Miss Parker in the first movie. I didn't have a problem with him as Parker in this movie. But the first part of this movie was really, really cartoony. But my one comment that I made to Dante was Paul Giamatti as Rhino. Paul Giamatti is a wonderful actor. He's a really talented actor and completely wasted on this role.
I don't necessarily know that. Rhino is not that bright. He kind of matched Rhino
that's fine,
pretty well.
Did it in such a cartoony way, you know.
Rhino is cartoony. Rhino's a dumb brute.
Yes, and I'm with you, but he did not. He didn't feel like a real character to me.
True, because
he felt cartoony.
I don't think they're really going to use him. even in the sequel when they do Spider-Man 3, I don't think they're going to use him
I think
as an actual villain.
in the Sinister Six movie, he's going to be the Muscle.
I don't know if he is. I don't know if they're going to use him to that effect. I think the way they had him as Rhino in this movie, that it was pretty much wrapped up. He'll get defeated.
Yeah, he'll get defeated, but
pretty easily.
He'll come back, just like some other.
He might come back, but I don't think it's going to be like as a major villain. I think he's just going to be like, oh, I'm going to rampage around, destroy a couple things, and I'm going to get beaten again.
So that whole part of the movie, the whole beginning of the movie, felt very cartoony to me. So before going to watch this movie, I went. I didn't go anywhere. I sat in my living room and watched the Amazing Spider-Man, the first one, and that was such a more mature movie all throughout than the first part of this movie.
I had issues with the first movie as well. Again, one of the major things being Peter Parker not being Peter Parker. I think Tobey Maguire did a better job as Peter Parker, but
no.
But no.
Tobey Maguire sucked.
Peter Parker, not as Spider-Man. Andrew Garfield does a better Spider-Man.
Yeah, he's definitely a better Spider-Man. And let me tell you, folks, in the comics, Spider-Man's a dick.
Like Andrew Garfield.
Andrew Garfield.
That's
personifies.
That's why
being a dick.
I like Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man. Peter Parker goes, I like Tobey Maguire.
I don't know. I like him. Well, maybe it's not just him. I liked the chemistry between him and Emma Stone much better than I liked the Tobey Maguire.
Well, that's also because they messed up back then. I mean, it was originally when he was in high school and stuff. It was supposed to be Gwen Stacy.
Well, yeah.
The bridge scene in that first movie was supposed to be Gwen Stacy.
Yes, agreed. And they did a wonderful job with Gwen Stacy in this. We're not going to. Not yet. Not yet. We're not going to talk about that yet. Right?
Damn it.
So, Emma Stone has grown on me in the last, I'd say, 3 years.
Yeah, she did well with her role. I will completely agree with that. She did very well as Gwen Stacy.
I think they used. Of course, I'm not going to be able to remember his name now. Dennis Leary, thank you.
Her dad?
Yeah, her dad. I think they used Dennis Leary in this movie very well. Spoiler: Dennis Leary is in this movie.
Pretty sure it's in the previews.
So, but I don't know that it is.
And on IMDb.
Well, yeah, I'm sure it's on IMDb. Like, I think they used that whole thing very well. I think the relationship between her and Andrew Garfield as Peter Parker is very believable for someone in that situation. And like, I really enjoy watching them as a pair of characters progress through the story.
I did, but I also felt it was too much.
How so?
Too much lovey-dovey and not enough action, honestly.
How much action do you want between Peter Parker and...
Well, I don't mean action like between the two. I mean like action is in more Spider-Man beating the shit out of people.
I didn't have a problem with that.
Because there was really 2 fight scenes.
So, as Dante put it, this is not action porn. They actually did tell a story. I'm not going to say what he called action porn because then we're going to have to...
Captain America had lots of action.
So I'm not going to say what he said was action porn, but...
I don't want to know. What's action porn?
Don't.
All right, you know what? Fine.
No, fuck that. Captain America was not action porn. That was a solid movie.
It was a solid movie. I loved it. If that's action porn, I want action porn all the time.
That's how people feel about most porn, I think. So, but I really enjoyed the journey that they've taken Andrew Garfield on as Spider-Man. Like the evolution of the character. Some of the classic things we've seen from other movies. I think
it would be so much better if you were just smarter. I have no problems with his relationship. I have no problems with his acting skills. Andrew Garfield's actually a really good actor.
So what would you have them do to prove his smartness?
Not have Gwen Stacy help him with shit. Like having her like, oh, did you try magnetizing it? And he's like,
Spoiler: they talk about magnetism.
wow, yeah, but I ruined the whole movie with magnetism.
You ruined the whole movie before we even got in. Like,
Okay.
this jackass told us what the fucking post-credit scene was.
Yep, yes, I did. However, it had nothing to do with Spider-Man.
I disagree. Although you have very valid points on why you think I'm wrong, but I disagree.
Not just valid points, also valid interviews and stuff that they've done. True, people do lie, but
and people like, oh, so we can't talk about that yet. But the first part of the movie had me concerned. I was really bothered by it. It was just like, man, this is really cartoony. This is really dumbed down. I don't like what they're doing with the characters. It didn't feel like a real situation. I really felt like I was watching Saturday morning cartoons. As the story gets furthered, it definitely becomes more adult, more serious. The tone of the movie feels more like what I thought the first movie felt like. So, I thought the last two-thirds to the last half to two-thirds to half. I think that's right. Anyway,
Usually go from lower to higher.
yeah. So, I think that was really good. I think the first third of the movie was really bad. Which is why I'm kind of sort of on board with your okay assessment, because I don't think either one was okay. I think it was good and bad.
I would agree with that, which is why, to me, the movie in general, as a whole, is just okay.
It evens out.
It was very I don't necessarily agree with the cartoony, but for me, it was just very slow in the beginning. Some of the character introduction, like when they introduce Electro, I didn't like necessarily the way they introduced his character.
Max or Electro?
I don't know.
Because I did not like Max. Because Max felt very cartoony. He didn't feel like a real person.
Yeah, but at the same time, I could also see how some of the stuff could culminate in him becoming Electro.
Yes, and I actually think Electro was the most engaging character in the entire film. I think his story and the way he progressed and the way
I agree with that, because
into Electro was
Harry did a 180 way too fast.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I'm upset that you're going behind my back and doing tests on people. 10 minutes later, I'm just gonna kill people now.
Just gonna kill people, yeah. Yeah. His transformation was very lackluster, and the way they handled the whole Osborn legacy, if you will, between the father and the son, was very different from anything we'd seen before.
And also, not at all following the comics.
No, not at all. But I think it served the purpose of the film, right? It got us to where we needed to be. I still think they could have done more with Harry to make him turn like that.
Yeah, I think it should have lapsed into the next movie, not.
No, Green Goblin needed to show up in this movie.
Then not Harry. It should have been Norman.
Again, very different than what we're used to seeing. Aha!
And one other thing that they got wrong was, I mean, Peter Parker's not supposed to meet Harry until college. He meets Harry and Mary Jane at the same time.
Right.
And
here they were lifelong friends.
Yeah,
not lifelong friends.
Friends since he was a kid when his parents.
Yeah,
split.
when they sent him away.
So since he was 6.
Yes.
So that's a little odd as well.
That's kind of just like some of the conveniences.
I can forgive. That's not hard to forgive, but just some of it was just too, I don't know, forced even.
But I did like him as Green Goblin. I thought he was a good Green Goblin.
A good Green Goblin, not same problem I have with Peter Parker. Good Green Goblin, not a good Harry.
I think he was a better Harry than James Franco.
I
James Franco, is that who it was?
I disagree. I think James Franco did well as Harry, but not as Green Goblin.
I did not like James Franco as Harry Osborn. Just did not do it for me.
I mean, I thought his relationship with Peter Parker, in those 3 movies, 2. I'll pretend the third one didn't happen. The first 2 movies, I thought he did well.
Well, we'll have to agree to disagree there. Just there's very little I like about the Sam Raimi Spider-Man.
I thought
trilogy.
The first 2 were good. The third one,
I thought the first one was okay. The second one was less than okay, and the third one was like, what the fuck am I watching?
The third one, that was intentional on Sam Raimi's part, though. I'm pretty sure, because he didn't want to do Venom.
He was just like, I want to kill this
when
franchise.
he first signed on for his contract, he's like, I don't want to do Venom as a villain. He's like, I don't like the character. I don't want to do him. They made him do it for the third movie. He's like, all right, fuck you guys.
So we got Vote for Pedro. What's that movie?
Napoleon Dynamite?
Napoleon Dynamite as Spider-Man.
What?
That is how I felt about the overall performance in Spider-Man 3 was that I was watching Napoleon Dynamite.
Oh. Yeah, well, it wasn't that good.
So thus far, if I'm going to compare the two, bless you, if I'm going to compare the two, this is a much better Spider-Man franchise than the Sam Raimi one.
I think they're trying to do more with the story. Because they've seen what Marvel's doing, they're like, yeah, we should hop on board with that because they're making money.
Okay. So we're about to get into the really, really big spoiler of the night. So again, if you don't want to know this, you need to not be watching.
For me, at the end of the first movie.
Who told you?
Probably Brandon.
I didn't know that they were going to actually do it in the movie. If I did,
Well,
I just said it happens in comics.
Like, oh, well, you know what happens to her anyway, right?
Oh no, that wasn't me.
Okay.
That wasn't me.
I don't remember her.
So, would you like to get
Yes.
this off your chest?
So my favorite part of the movie wasn't because I disliked the character or anything. Before I say it, if you know what I'm talking about, it doesn't matter anyway. But it wasn't I disliked the character. It was just that they stuck to the story, and I was so happy about that. Gwen Stacy dies from a fall, and I was like, yes!
And the way they did it was fucking brutal.
Well, it was more brutal in the comics.
Yeah.
In the comics, he accidentally snapped her neck.
I think he accidentally snapped her neck in this one, too.
Well,
So I think it was mentally brutal. It was not physically.
yes. But, like, so they have the fall. Spider-Man goes after her, shoots the web, stops himself, stops her. However, there's this thing called momentum.
yep, like a bungee cord.
Boom! Pop! Right into the floor. Even though she didn't completely hit the ground, like her head did, and her body was like bent in half.
Yeah, it was.
It was pretty bad. And throughout that entire scene, I'm sitting there and I'm saying to myself, God, don't let her wake up.
Exactly.
Don't let her wake
That's what I was saying. I was
Don't let her wake up.
like, do not wake her up. Do not have her be okay.
Yes.
Do not do that. Just keep her
And-
dead.
Then they cut to the funeral, and I was like, yes!
And just in case, because you never know, it could have been someone else's funeral. I was like, make sure she's actually dead. And then they started showing it, and it showed months. I was like, good, thank God.
But I had a very interesting reaction to that realization. I was like, please let Gwen Stacy die. Please let Gwen Stacy die. Please let Gwen Stacy die. Oh my God, Gwen Stacy's dead. I'm so sad.
Well, now they're going to have to introduce Mary Jane, though, in the next movie.
Yes, and that is precisely what they were going for. And I think this was something that they needed to show the audience. They needed to show the audience that Spider-Man suffers because of who he is.
Yep.
And the use of the Dennis Leary character, Captain
Stacy.
Stacy, yes. Because I wanted to say Captain Gwen.
Gwen Stacy, and her dad was a cop, and he was captain. I wonder what he was called.
I wanted to call him Captain Gwen. Right. So Captain Stacy appears in this movie several times as a memory. Peter Parker.
Like Dexter's dad.
And I didn't watch Dexter, so I wouldn't know.
I didn't watch Dexter either.
So nobody watched that show. It was really small. But anyway, so they used him to pretty much torture Spider-Man,
Yeah.
right? So
And that was a whole big part of his life in the comics,
Yes.
was the death of the Stacys.
Mhm.
First her dad, and then
and
her.
then her, yes. So it was suffering that needed to occur. We needed to see it because it's a integral part of who he is going to become.
Yes.
And I like the way they did it too. I'm not going to get into details.
I was disappointed that they didn't show Jameson.
I wanted them to show Jameson too, but I didn't know who. Like, I wanted it to be.
I wanted it to be the guy from the
from
first.
the other one, yes, because he was the perfect.
He was
Jameson.
awesome as Jameson.
You know,
Even the voice and everything. He
Yes.
had like that tone that was just.
I would have really enjoyed that, but it would have been weird to have him show up.
Why? It's still Sony.
You know,
They-
it's still
You can't reuse characters.
in a reboot. It's bad enough that they had him fall into the wrestling ring in the first movie when he sees the wrestling poster, and that's how he gets the inspiration for the match.
Oh yeah.
You know, that wrestling ring was right out of the Sam Raimi.
But see,
Spider-Man.
that wrestling ring was also in the original comics, though.
Yeah.
That's how he got the costume
and that's fine. But what I'm saying is that they'd already done it in the Sam Raimi version, right? So to throw it into this new rebooted version and have it look almost identical to the other movie, I think was pretty lame. I thought that was a low point in the Amazing Spider-Man. But other than that, like I think they've handled all this stuff really well. So it would have been really cool to see him, but it also would have been kind of lame to use the same actor in a rebooted franchise.
Either way, I don't know. I don't know who else they would cast.
Although I did like the way they gave Jameson a voice without you actually having to
Oh,
see
yeah.
him with the email.
But again, I'm hearing
yeah,
that
you're
guy.
hearing the guy. Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
hearing that. Like, I think Spider-Man's just trying to help. Wrong.
So that was pretty cool. And
And did you see the previous couple emails before that Jameson had sent him? He's like, these are crap.
yeah. So I like that they went they took you on that path, but they didn't it wasn't completely realized.
I think the graphics were better done in this movie than the first movie.
I do think the special effects were better in this
Because
movie.
I thought I was going to have an issue because of the previews, and the previews, for some reason, Electro looks too fake.
Well, you're also seeing him on the small screen, on your computer, on your phone, whatever.
It was actually pretty decent in the movie.
Yeah.
Lizard Man just looked like crap.
My favorite character in the whole movie was Electro. I don't think there's anything wrong with him in this movie, and I'm really happy with the way they did it. I could have done without Max. I don't know how they would have introduced him without Max, but Max again didn't feel like a real person. So the whole story, I think, is tied together really well. I think the pacing of the story, once you get past the beginning, is really decent. I think the action's good. I think the story is good. I think the acting is good. Even the writing was really decent.
Some parts were a little odd, though, like you pointed out, the whole FAA thing.
Okay.
Not how they do stuff.
I don't want to get into that.
And another part, at some point in the movie, these computers come up from from underground that are still on for 12 years, running like Windows XP or something, still at the same screen. I don't think Windows XP could
So-
ever have a 12-year uptime.
Okay, so I actually mentioned this as soon as we walked out of the theater. There's a flashback scene of Peter Parker's parents. Hey, Peter Parker's parents. And they're using a laptop. And they use an old school Sony Vaio, like 2.5-inch thick when folded laptop. I was like, yes, they got that part right.
It's like a tough book.
Yes.
Because that's and it
And
handled
they
well.
needed it to be a tough
yeah,
book, yeah.
it fell around and all that kind of stuff. So that was fine. I had no problems with that. The computer in the underground, that was stupid. How is that
dumb.
still running?
But, you know,
at the screen that still had it up. That downloaded complete.
yeah, well, that was the thing. Like, download complete happened when they showed us the screen. Like, it wasn't sitting at download complete. Like, the bar actually finished.
I think it was a continuity error.
Yes. So,
It was supposed to be up to 12 years.
yeah, and I think
Still,
that was dumb.
That's still dumb.
They could have easily had the computers power up, which would have taken all of like 15 seconds or whatever
But
in
then download
in movie
complete
time.
wouldn't be up, 'cause that doesn't stay from the top.
What if you do Zoom instead of power up?
Yeah, like I would have been fine with like a system resume or something.
System resume brings
It was just a little
hokey.
because that's what I deal with every day and stuff. I deal with computers. So seeing that, I was like, man, that doesn't happen.
The FAA scene is very fake, and I don't want to talk about why I know that. So overall, I think this movie's well worth watching. I'm probably going to see it again.
I saw it twice. I probably won't see it again. At least not until it's out on DVD.
I was actually planning on going to see it tomorrow morning, but the person that I was going to go with is not going. So I might go see it while I'm in Tampa.
Yeah. It is definitely worth the watch.
Oh, so I want to get into this because I know you think I'm wrong, but I think I got something here, and I think if they do it, it'd be
It's not gonna
fucking
happen.
awesome. The post-credit scene, spoilers, is the X-Men.
Yes, they show like a 20-second or 25-second scene from the new X-Men movie.
And my theory, because I know they've talked about doing an X-Men Fantastic Four crossover.
It's because Fox owns both.
Because Fox owns both. I know this Spider-Man being with Sony is an obstacle, but I think they can find a way to do a Spider-Man, X-Men, Fantastic Four team-up.
I really don't think so, because so Fox, they said that so we know they're doing this, obviously, and the new movie comes out in like 4 weeks or whatever, 3 weeks. And then the next movie after that is called X-Men Apocalypse. You can look it up on IMDb. They don't have another X-Men movie slated after that. However, they do have another Wolverine movie. And then they said they want to expand into some other mutants.
But they are going to do the Fantastic Four.
They are going to reboot the Fantastic Four.
Which, by the way, in the new Fantastic Four, the rumor is that Johnny Storm is going to be a black actor. I have no problem with that.
I don't really care.
However, except how is he going to be Sue Storm's brother?
Adopted.
Half. Well, actually, no. You can. Their parents are. One of their parents is black. One of their parents is white. That actually has happened, where they have a white kid and a black kid. Yeah, they're obviously mixed race, but
Right. I don't know. I think it's a little weird. I think they're gonna fuck with the story and not do that. Although I think it'd be cool if they did do that.
I was like, it's Fox. Look at Rogue. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. Let's not go into that.
Jubilee. They lots of issues with the X-Men.
Yes.
Sony has said that they're going to do other Spider-Man universe movies. They're making a Venom movie by itself, a standalone movie for Venom.
Which I'm kind of interested in seeing how they're going to do it, because if they make a standalone Venom movie, that means Venom's the protagonist.
Yes, at that
You
point.
gotta like Venom.
At that point, because here's here's what they said they're going to do. They said they're going to do the opposite of what Marvel's doing. They're going to basically throw Venom into a movie with Spider-Man first, and then do a Venom movie after.
In that situation, I think I'm okay with that. To completely shift gears, the DC universe is also trying to do the same thing.
Yeah,
They are in real jeopardy of fucking up this franchise.
Yeah, because they're doing Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman all in one
And
movie.
Cyborg and Flash.
Cyborg's gonna be in there too.
Yes.
That's why aren't they in the Justice League? Why are they in Superman 2?
Because you're turning this into the fucking Justice League movie. It doesn't.
Why
need
don't
to
they
be
just
the
call it
movie,
Justice League?
You know.
They should.
No.
No.
They should have
if
a
they're-
Batman Superman movie.
No, that's what I'm saying.
That
If-
leads into a Justice
if they're
League
gonna
movie.
if they're gonna have a Justice League movie, have it just be Justice League. If they're gonna have Batman Superman, have it just be Batman Superman.
Yes.
I'm alright with one other.
A cameo or like an intro, kind of like what they did with Iron Man at the end, where Fury shows up.
I would have been fine, like if they introduced Nightwing or something along with Batman to help him out, because I mean
Right.
it is Superman they're going
Yeah.
against.
So they're I'm concerned about the DC superhero franchise right now. I think they really need to rein that in. I was very okay with Batman Superman. Throwing all these other characters in just seems unnecessary.
I'm still not okay with Batman Superman just because of who's playing Batman. I don't care what Joss Whedon says.
Yeah.
I don't care that Joss Whedon's like, oh, he's got the action.
Joss Whedon thinks he's gonna do okay, so
I-
I'm going to give it a chance.
By the way, I'm going to bring up something new, kind of new, because it's been talked about before. When we discussed Much Ado About Nothing, and I said, I can't remember the actor's name that plays Coulson.
Clark Gregg.
When I said Clark Gregg didn't seem very angry in that movie, when he should have been, in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., he was much angrier.
Well, he loses his shit in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but we're not going to talk about that right now.
That's what I wanted to happen.
But we're not going to
I
talk about
wanted
that
him
right
to
now.
be like flipping out,
Okay.
kind of angry.
We're not going to talk about that right now. We're going to talk about that.
Well, we're talking about Marvel and
Yeah,
stuff.
but we're going to do the whole season wrap-up thing. So
Are we?
Yes.
All right. You didn't tell me that.
You said it!
When did I say
Last
it?
week you were like, yeah, when we do the season wrap-up.
No. What happened was, are we not going to do the?
30 seconds.
And you said no, I want to do something like this season, maybe a season wrap up or something like that later.
Yeah, that was when I brought up the idea. He has talked about it since.
Because you brought it up.
Yes. And that's what I'm saying. And now you're like, oh, are we? It's like, yeah.
Well, because you.
I think Dante wants to go to bed.
And it's also going to be like, if we don't bring this in, it's going to be another 30 minutes. Who wants to watch that?
So,
I'll still argue.
Yeah.
Even after it's off.
but yeah, but back to Spider-Man 2. It's definitely worth watching. I think it's a very solid movie. I don't think everyone's going to have the same problems I did with the cartooniness of the first portion of the movie.
If you're comic fans, also they do introduce the gentleman, Mr. Fears.
Yes.
So that was pretty cool.
They actually introduced him at the end of Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man.
Yep.
But
He,
they
when he was talking
it was
to
really
Osborn.
obscure.
Yeah.
So I'm glad they confirmed it in this movie. So that was interesting. So if you haven't gone and seen it yet, and you don't care about spoilers,
Yet.
go see it.
It's only been 6 hours.
Yeah, it's like don't let our assessment of the movie stop you from seeing it. I guess that's really all I got to say about that.
It was okay.